Say 3, 2, 1, and you're gonna give a little clap, like.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Too loud. Welcome to Kath and Mikey Make a Podcast.
We're back.
You're
I'm
supposed
Kath.
to say. All right.
We have a featured guest today, Ahsoka herself. Hi, Ahsoka.
A round of applause.
Welcome. Ahsoka is a beautiful calico cat that is a little escape artist, and that's about it.
You told me we had Rosario Dawson.
I did?
Yeah.
No.
That's why we're doing this.
I just said Ahsoka. I didn't say Rosario Dawson.
That's
that's
why
kind
I came
of a
out of
big ass.
retirement. We have to move it along because if we do too much banter, my sister won't listen.
Oh.
We have to do something to get her attention quickly.
Like this? Like ranting like this? Like going off?
No, like we have to say something like free cheese if you listen to this podcast. Should I give a little summary?
Yeah.
All right, so Ahsoka is a former Jedi, former apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, and she is now teaming up with an old buddy to stop an evil plot to bring back a warlord.
That's a non-spoiler review. Good job.
I think that's a pretty succinct summary.
I should say.
Yeah, and that's the only time we're going to be non-spoiler. How do you feel about it so far? It's been 3 episodes.
I like it. I haven't read the online discourse on it. I'm enjoying it. I watch Rebels, and even though it's a kids show, I still kind of I watch it for the plot. But that wasn't a joke.
No, I laughed
sorry.
because I have been reading online, and a meme that's been going around is I watch Ahsoka for the plot, and it's just Mary Elizabeth Winstead's butt.
Oh yeah, I've seen that,
Yeah.
and I agree. Anyway, I like it. I like the look of it. It's
I think it's very pretty.
and we've already seen Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, but I don't know. I can see this is a more mature Ahsoka than we've seen before, and I think she plays her well.
So you don't have a problem with her portrayal? Because a lot of people have been talking about that, about how maybe she's a bit stiff.
Well, I could understand. She has what is that called?
The leku, the big headpiece.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be part of her body.
Yeah, that's supposed to move with her body, and when you have animation, you can make it look like it's part of her head.
Yeah, just moving with her.
But it's more difficult in live action.
Mm-hmm. But not just that, but her delivery.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe at times it might seem, I understand it might seem a little stiff, but so far I've been putting it off as, well, this is supposed to be much older Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. We don't know how old she is.
Yeah.
But she's definitely much older. She's been through the Battle of Endor. No,
I don't think she was there.
Where
was she? I would like to know.
But yeah, we'll see. It's only episode 3.
It's only episode 3.
How many episodes is gonna be this?
8.
8
yeah.
episodes. Okay.
So we're not even halfway through.
Yeah.
And I feel it's a show where I'm in a weird spot with it kind of, because I feel like it's exactly for me. It's exactly what I want.
Okay.
But if somebody says I don't like it, I'm not confused.
No, yeah. I feel the same way. If someone points out, and I have seen tweets talking about about the show, especially I think I saw a tweet talking about Mon Mothma.
What about her?
They were comparing Andor versus Ahsoka, which I don't think it's fair. Andor is masterpiece. Whereas
it isn't fair.
It isn't fair.
I mean, even if you
even
compare
the posters are different.
It was just so well written. It just it makes you feel things for people that have nothing to do with Skywalker bloodlines or any known characters. They make you care about complete nobodies. But I feel like it's it's definitely better than a Boba Fett or Mandalorian season 3. Like, I feel like it's much closer to the level of
for
quality
sure. Like,
of
come
like
on.
the
No.
first season of Mando.
Second season of Mando.
Oh, you think so?
Well, I would say how it looks more like the first season of Mando. So yes.
I feel like it look visually it looks even better. Like, I don't know that the ships and space stations and stuff like that have ever looked this clean.
Right? They look so
Yeah.
good. And like inside the ships, like
I'm
the
never
shadow,
like,
how
ooh.
the shadows look. I like that a lot. And
Every time.
there are some details that I like. I like that the Lothcath is like he kind of looks more like animatronics than.
Oh yeah, very cute. I that was a pleasant surprise. I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, and
Something
yeah,
I like
think-
that's carried over from the animated shows, for me, it has this over Andor, is that you get these frequent lightsaber battles, along with like getting into the mysticism of this world, which, you know, while that doesn't really fit with what Andor was doing, I feel like that's kind of an integral part of Star Wars, is the mysticism.
It's going on the line of Rebels or even Clone Wars. Like you get those names. What are they? The Mortis.
The Mortis arc, yeah, that was was probably the most esoteric, like, the franchise has ever gotten.
Yeah, the Clone Wars episode, or like I think it's like a two-parter.
Yeah, and we're getting into witches and stuff. What I like is that it has.
Oh yeah, it's bringing back witches.
It has the
also
fun of like the animated stuff, where every episode you're like, oh, I got satisfying action and we moved the story along. But it's like, it's without any of the filler so far. Like, everything is story, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Which also separates it from Mando.
Do you think Mando have filler?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I honestly, I probably need to rewatch.
It's been a while, right?
It's been a while,
But yeah,
then like I feel like my brain kind of like you know, like it had a short circuit after watching Boba Fett. So all I remember,
Season 3 more than anything.
Yeah, all I remember is Mandalorian season 3 right now.
I don't blame you for short circuiting after Boba Fett.
And it's just erased a lot.
Wait, I don't understand. This was supposed to be good.
Okay.
Am I wrong? Like,
no, like you mean Boba Fett?
Boba Fett and Mando season 3 and Rise of Skywalker. Like, I don't love everything that they produce. So I'm saying something when I think there's something here.
Yeah. And I do, and I think I told you this already, but I do like the fact that in that last episode 3, like, what's her face, Sabine, I don't know, I guess I'm so used to it being like, and then they get it right away, like they're so natural in the Force. So we get someone that's like not natural at all, like the opposite of natural in the Force, like maybe has some, you know, some ability that's hidden deep inside, and they're not getting in the first try. So it makes me interested in Sabine's further development as a character.
I like that a lot. Because
usually we saw Sabine in the animated series in relationship to the group or in relationship to Ezra. So it you know, beyond, you know, the episodes that are in Mandalore, and we always go back to other characters. So it's interesting now seeing her developing her own story, with Ahsoka, but it's simpler in a way, so you can get more out of two character story rather than.
Actually, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of one of the better episodes of Star Wars Visions, where there was that master voiced by David Harbour, and he brought his apprentice to this planet, and they found this old Sith Lord in the mountains.
Oh yeah. That's like one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, it's great. The animation quality is beautiful too. But I love that they're finally just doing a master and apprentice, like having an adventure in the galaxy.
Yeah,
like,
they
and
tried.
just focusing on that.
There are episodes in Rebels between Kanan
and Ezra. Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's always in relationship with the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
And, like I mean, this is in relationship with the bigger story. Obviously, it's
Mm-hmm.
Thrawn. They're trying to get to Thrawn and possibly see if Ezra is alive somewhere. But it's setting up so that they have more alone time together, and with the robot in between.
Hu Yang has been surprisingly like really cool. Like all his lines have been either funny or insightful. He's a very enjoyable character.
Or like give us exposition in a way that it's not like on the nose.
Feels
it's like,
feels mostly natural.
Yeah, it feels natural, and I like the look of the character. I also like the movements, like they did like the eyes, how they move up and down, like very.
They can also like sort of squint, like when he was watching her train. He was like,
yeah, I like all those tiny. It has a lot of tiny details that make it feel not necessarily CGI.
Yeah, no. Well, I think most of the time it isn't.
No, I'm sure it isn't, and I appreciate that.
I really like, and we're skipping around, which is fine, but I really like the opening of episode 3 where she's training, and every time she moves the stick, like she's practicing with Hu Yang, it syncs up with the music every time she makes a movement.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole show, the soundtrack has been pretty on point, I feel. Yeah, and very Star Warsy in a way that Andor felt a little bit.
It was definitely more grounded. Like one of the more grounded Star Wars stories. Because, Star Wars as a space opera. It so far have been focusing on like this larger than life characters.
Mm-hmm.
Or the IP that we've known since, the 70s and 80s. As a relatively unknown character, I think they could do more like what was happening with the people, the little people, and the people that aren't necessarily Jedi's or Force sensitive or part of the bigger plot or Skywalkers or.
We're gonna, I guess, keep talking about Andor.
Yeah,
but
I
want to tell you something that I'm not sure.
I feel like after Andor, every show is gonna get compared to Andor.
Probably.
And then season 2 is gonna come out and it's gonna get compared.
Too bad that there's not gonna be 3 seasons, but like,
but do we
it's
need 3
cool
seasons?
that we get another. I don't know. Depends on if the next one feels rushed or not.
Or, yeah, I guess. But if they play it right, less is more. Less is more.
So, okay, how do you feel about Sabine's acting?
Like actress?
Yeah, like this actress portraying Sabine.
At first I wasn't too sure, and then she cut her hair, and I like her more.
You like her more after that?
No, like because I think it was the first episode, I was like, and then, but I don't know, maybe by the third episode, I was like, oh, I kind of like this character. It doesn't feel the same. I like how she's portraying her more in the episode 3 than in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just getting accustomed to the actress. But I don't think she's particularly like bad at it.
No, I don't think so either. But I do like teeter on the edge of like, this feels like it's getting a little CW, like with some of her line deliveries. But it always kind of.
It rounds up.
It never goes that far, and
No.
like Ahsoka is kind of there to ground her.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it's totally fair to be like Rosario's totally wooden. Dave created Ahsoka, and he's the one directing her. So if this is the way she's acting,
I feel like it has to be. There might be something there, like maybe it's not just wooden. It's just like this is a different Ahsoka.
There is
the one we know.
Particular line delivery that I really like, where she's training Sabine, and Sabine has a blast shield over her face, and she's like, "Where am I?" And she's like, "You're over by Hu Yang," and she's like, "Are you sure?" And you hear the audio like on the other side, because she's like quickly changed positions.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait, how'd you do that? And she responds, you'd be dead. I just really like the way she says that. Yeah, the first episode, it opens with Shin and Balin, who are the villains of this, two of the three main villains so far of the series.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Shin and Balin?
They don't have a lot to, haven't said that much.
No.
I kind of like that.
Yeah,
I don't
me too.
mind when, you know, sometimes I think some shows made the mistake of making their characters talk too much. And
Definitely.
I want to bring up the example, like the clear, like, because you get the character twice, right? Cowboy Bebop, Vicious. I'm sorry, you seem traumatized. I'm traumatized. I finished watching it. So in the anime Vicious, I think he's a great. I love Cowboy Bebop. It's one of my favorite animes. And I think that Vicious makes a great villain because you don't get to see him a lot. And when he's there, he says like very sparse lines, and it's more like action, like, because you know the whole point is that like he's quiet, but when he, you know, when he reacts, it's like brutal force, right?
Yeah, he has very few lines in the anime.
Whereas if you compare that to the live action, the Netflix adaptation, he's in almost every fucking episode.
And he's really embarrassing.
And he talks so much.
Yeah.
And you can see the wig the entire time. And like every time he and that wig talk, I want to barf.
Takes so much.
It makes him look ridiculous. He's so
also
ridiculous.
There's no mystery. Yeah, he is ridiculous.
There's no mystery. So I feel that with these so far, you know, they've kept their mystery, because we know the other lady something, the one that's
Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, Morgan.
Which I think is supposed to be a reference to Morgan Le Fay, because also Marok is an Arthurian character apparently.
Oh.
And Shin and Balin are the names of like Norse wolves that chase the sun and the moon.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It is interesting, especially when you take into account like the Loth wolves from Rebels.
Yeah, I mean, then again, Filoni loves wolves.
He loves wolves, yeah.
He loves wolves more than George R. Martin.
He thought he was a one-man wolf pack, but then he met George Lucas. But no, I think you're kind of on the money with like less is more, because these two characters seem to have captured the imagination of a lot of people. Like,
yeah, and
the
I
people
like
are really
that, like the more like what you know is something that you could have assumed, that like one of them is a Jedi or was a Jedi.
Yes.
And based on his age, it is likely that he was a Jedi and then he got converted. The Empire converted him into, you know, being like.
I don't think that's very clear. Like, I don't necessarily think he was with the Empire. He seems like a mercenary.
I mean, he could be. He could be now a mercenary once the
like,
Empire has fallen. But usually
true.
The only people that were allowed to, you know, or from what I remember, it's the Inquisitors that are the ones allowed to.
I was about to say, like,
users.
maybe, like, he could be an ex-Inquisitor, but, like, they tend to have red lightsabers, and both of theirs are orange.
Are they not red?
Yeah, they're actually orange.
What?
Yeah.
I thought they were red.
And also she has the Padawan braid. So it seems like they're dark Jedi rather than Sith.
They're not Sith. Okay, so they're dark Jedi. How do you get like an orange saber?
I heard that
like,
possibly like I don't know all the theories. One thing I read was that you could partially bleed the crystal, but not all the way.
Interesting.
But it shows that their alignment. It's sort of the inverse of Ahsoka, who's also claims she's not a Jedi, which is one of the first things Balin says. I am no Jedi, but she's like more towards the light.
Well, yeah, she has like the white sabers.
Mm-hmm.
Or she used to have yellow sabers, and then now she has white sabers.
But it's that same thing. Like, she doesn't identify as a Jedi, but her alignment is closer
to the
light.
Light side of the Force. Okay, yeah, and that would be interesting. I maybe I assumed I made an ass.
Easy to assume. But I really like Shin's performance. Like, people have pointed out, she never blinks.
Yeah, that's true. And someone said like she's acting like she's in an A24 movie.
I said that.
Film. Oh, you said that.
I said that.
Oh, you're the meme.
Yeah. I am the meme. Yeah, less is more. Like, even him, you see that he's remorseful about the idea of like having to kill Ahsoka, because he, laments the fact that there are barely any Jedi left in the galaxy. And you're just left to wonder, like, what's going through their heads. What do they really want? Mm-hmm. And I like that. Like,
well, I think they want power.
Well, she said, what happens when we find Thrawn? Mm-hmm. And he's like, power beyond your wildest imagination, or whatever. And so it seems like he is interested in that. But it's like, you're still not really sure what she wants. Because if she didn't know that was the goal, but she's following this guy around, like, where did he even find her? Is she just like this feral little Force user that he found?
Maybe.
It's interesting. There are a lot of questions. I know a few nicknames for her. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah.
Okay, so her name is Shin Hati. I've heard Shin Hottie, Shin Batty, Darth Bangs.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And I Can Fix Her.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah, I think they're good antagonists. People were kind of up in arms about her stabbing Sabine. And
Why?
Sabine surviving.
Oh.
Just because Qui-Gon died with a lightsaber to the gut. I'm unbothered. I'm like thoroughly unbothered by it.
But where exactly was Qui-Gon?
Like right in the middle.
Yeah,
like so through the spine.
On the side?
Yeah, like through the kidneys, something like that.
Exactly. She lost
but there
a
was
kidney.
like
She can live with the other kidney.
Yeah. There was a doctor, Ahsoka immediately rushed her to the hospital. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It doesn't bother me at all.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of Hera? The live action appearance of Hera?
Yeah.
Okay so far?
Okay.
Yeah, I feel okay about her. The
I'm
scene with Mon Mothma, I feel like while the information they were giving me was good, I felt like parts of it were just like lingering a little too much. Like they needed to edit it to make it a little bit snappier.
Yeah. I know.
You felt that way?
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
And like the guy that's supposed to be the bad guy is a little annoying.
Yeah, he just has that face.
He's like okay.
Just shut up.
Yeah, it's just like I get it. I get he's supposed to be the bad guy.
Yeah. we
all
all
get it. Or the one
it.
that doesn't understand, just doesn't get it.
Yeah,
he just doesn't get it.
Warned before they went in the room. They're like, "Hey, that guy that you don't like is there," and she was like, "Ugh."
And then we get it. He's supposed to be shady at some level. Too.
And he is. All right.
Mm-hmm, we get it. Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah.
And
make it
Mon Mothma is dedicated to this being an actual democracy, but for some reason is keeping her mouth entirely shut during this scene.
Yeah, that was also weird.
I assume Luthen is dead, but it's like she's shitting on Luthen's grave.
Yeah. Then again, she's no Luthen, so.
She's no Luthen, no.
Yeah, I don't. She's definitely a tamer version of. The same in like Rebels, she's like a tamer version of the one we get to see in Andor.
Well, in Andor, I feel like she is tame, but she's scared of fucking everything.
Yeah, like the stakes are high. She's gonna lose everything. It's gonna be fucking
yeah,
over.
No, she's gonna lose her family. She's gonna be put in prison if not executed.
Yeah. So it's but I guess that Mon Mothma's like cooler than this one.
Well,
This one, like, tattles you to the principal's office.
No, I don't think that's true because she was like, she asked Hera to leave the room so that they could all discuss it, which is funny that they're all holograms, but she's like, Hera, leave the room.
Yeah, leave the room, because
could you give us holograms a moment?
Unless they're not in the same room themselves. So.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a good point.
That's how holograms work.
But I feel like they could just shut off Hera's part of the call. I don't know.
They don't have that technology.
Impossible.
Impossible, yeah. You're asking too much.
No, but I'm sure that she was like trying to get some support, to send to Ahsoka and Sabine.
Oh, yeah.
The whole argument against that, I think doesn't work. They're like, we think a warlord might be alive, and that if he comes back, he will unite the disparate, like, factions that are left over from the Empire. And they're like, oh, you just want to find your friend.
Yeah, it's
Okay, also he might be there, but did you hear the first thing that I said?
It's like you're missing the forest for the trees. Yeah, it just seems so, I don't know, it seems a little unbelievable, but then again, the Republic is known to be a little dumb.
Well,
like,
the New Republic
trusting.
for sure.
The New Republic is like too trusting, and that's what kind of brings it down.
Yeah. Like, it's no wonder the First Order happened.
Yeah.
Not only because they already wrote that part, so it has to happen.
It has to happen, but also it's like they're so trusting. They're so like trying to, bring in the Imperials and convert them or whatever.
Yeah,
Where did we see that? Did we see that in Andor, or was it third season of Mando?
It started in Mando season 3 with the Dr. Pershing episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like those episodes.
Yeah, it wasn't like the best acted, but I like what they were going for. Like, it was a little bit off. It felt like something Andor would have done better.
Yes.
But
yeah, why would we see that in Andor? Never mind.
I appreciate the world building. And yeah, they're continuing off that the New Republic is honestly kind of negligent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
but then again, I don't know if they're getting inspiration from like Operation Paperclip, like the real life Operation Paperclip. Like, you get Nazi scientists. Like, I'm only saying Operation Paperclip is what they did in the U.S. Like, they brought Nazi scientists and like gave them like new papers, and they're like, well, you're off to work for NASA now. You're gonna make us some rockets.
We talked about that in that episode of Mando, and I think that is what they're taking inspiration from.
and or like, the U.S. did, everyone did it based, like even like the Soviet Union did it. They fought the Nazis and then they brought them in. So they're probably like taking inspiration on that. And I mean, it was dumb then, and it's dumb now. So, I mean, but
it's sad, like, really, that the galaxy was saved through a lot of effort and a lot of blood and tears, and they're just totally like, fumbling.
Doopy-doopy-doo. It's all peace.
This is peacetime, not war. People are tired of war. Yeah, so I think the scene should have been snappier, but I was on Hera's side, obviously.
Well, obviously, yeah, that's the one you're supposed to be in.
I think she acted well in the scene.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good actress.
It was convincing when she was saying, I have been fighting wars my whole life, and I don't want to fight another one. Like, so you should be able to trust me.
But thankfully, that means that we're gonna get to see Thrawn. So
yeah, that is exciting. That is exciting.
It has to happen, so that the plot can move along.
So Morgan Elsbeth, she's the witch, witch of Dathomir.
Sorry, that name sounds like one of my D&D characters. Like
Morgan Elsbeth. She said Thrawn is calling to me across space and time. That's odd, right?
It's a little odd.
Because he has no connection to the Force. He
I'm-
tried to shoot the Bendu.
Yeah, he fucking shot the Bendu.
And the Bendu just laughed at him.
He was like, okay, all right. And yeah, in Rebels, he for a smart man, he thoroughly does not understand like things that are beyond the physical world. Like, if someone tried to explain to him the cosmic force and the living force, he'd be like, stop. So he's like that type of man, I feel. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if since she's like a witch, I'm assuming, since she's like descendant from the witches of Dathomir. I don't know if she feels it, like that's like he's calling to her, but it's more like her feeling him.
Yeah.
I don't mean that weirdly. That sounded weird.
Could be. I mean, maybe he's like, maybe as in, like, he's not praying, obviously, but it's like he has this hope that this person will find him, and she can sense that.
Will find him. Yeah.
Something like we don't know their relationship at all. Like actually, a lot of the relationships in this show are completely new to us. And I feel like people who have not watched Rebels and stuff like that
are completely lost.
Yeah, like they think that all of this has been like set up before to a point where they're like, oh, well, this isn't for me because I didn't watch any of that stuff. Yeah. But I feel like simply because people know Clone Wars and Rebels exist, they're assuming that they should know stuff.
Yeah. Like,
if you go back to A New Hope, like, would you do that with every scene? Like, Darth Vader or Obi-Wan shows up and you're like, oh, am I supposed to know who this is?
Well,
wait, what's a Clone War? I don't get this. This isn't for... It's like, I feel like this show gives you enough as a new viewer for you to, like...
context clues, yes.
Yeah, for, like, just let the story unfold and you'll start discovering what they're talking about.
It's like, you can't expect exposition, and then if they have exposition, they'll be like, oh, there was so much exposition. Like, come on. Like.
And I skipped around in Rebels as well. Like, I didn't watch the entirety all the way through.
What? What?
And there were definitely episodes of Clone Wars where I was folding laundry. But I'm like, I'm following along just fine.
This is
offended, I see.
No, it just tells me everything I need to know. I'm trying to remember if Thrawn, like, if his race, you know, like if they're like force sensitive, or you know how some races are more.
Yeah, like whatever Yoda is.
Yeah, or actually, I think like Ahsoka's race and Hera's, the Twi'lek, also are like force sensitive.
Oh, are they? Are Twi'leks force sensitive?
Well, they have like a connection.
Or more of a
like their appendages.
I didn't know
make
that.
them more sensitive. But apparently they're usually just exploited because they're like one of the most beautiful races on the galaxy, so they're just exploited.
It's very sad. Her and Ahsoka look very pretty. Her and Hera and Ahsoka. Like, the first scene with Ahsoka is very slow. Like very Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know? And the whole time I was just like admiring the work they did on her makeup, like her contacts, the paint, like everything's very cool, very well done. I'm very curious about what we're gonna see in this other galaxy. I'm curious as to whether or not like there's gonna be any messing with time, like if time goes slower in the other galaxy or anything like that. You know, like it's a thought I didn't have before the show, but during the show, I'm just thinking about all these possibilities.
I mean, it wouldn't be weird if they did that or did something related to time, like they've done it before in Rebels.
I know this is like a silly kind of comic booky idea, but if they're like going to continue beyond the sequel trilogy, it would be nice to have characters that I know and care about around. Yeah. So it's like if they got stuck in a different place where they could show back up and it would be like 30 years later or whatever.
Yeah, and then it would be after Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And like they would they would be blessed because it's like they wouldn't know that Rise of Skywalker exists.
Okay, what do you think about the live action Purgles?
Huh?
The star whales.
Oh my god. Yes, thank you for calling them by their scientific name.
You're welcome.
Star whales.
Huyen called them that.
Star whales. Really?
Yeah.
Oh. But yes, it's Purgles. They were definitely more colorful in Rebels. So I like them more in Rebels.
Oh, really?
I don't like them so dark. I like that they were blue and purple and whatever.
I like them more here just because of the sheer scale.
Well, yeah, here they look like, Colossus.
Yeah,
type.
it's like a scene out of like that 2015 Godzilla or whenever that came out.
Oh, like in the shadows.
Yeah, just like kind of godly and enormous. That was my favorite part of the chase.
Yeah, no. I like them, and I think it shows like the scale of these creatures.
And I never felt like, oh, this is constrained because it's a TV show. It just like everything looks good.
No, it looks good. I'm just saying like I like the purple and the blue.
Totally, yeah, fair.
I guess they look like a little bit more like they look more mystical in the show, whereas here they just look like, like a huge, these huge creatures that you're like, ah.
Yeah, but going back to like the force sensitivity, because I didn't like finish my thoughts on that, like Sabine's force sensitivity and the idea that anybody could do it if they practice enough. We haven't really done that since the original trilogy. Like, because the prequels, everybody was flipping around. force jumps, force pushes, like, for everybody. And then the sequel trilogy, Rey is able to do a Jedi mind trick, like, in 2 seconds.
Immediately.
And, Luke was barely able to move his lightsaber in The Empire Strikes Back. So it's been that long since we've had somebody struggle, and Sabine has defeated some people, but so far it's like we're watching her struggle, and that's really fun. Totally unrelated, but that's why I like the first season of Ted Lasso and didn't like subsequent seasons, because I liked seeing everybody doubt him and then him do well. There's something really compelling about that, and it's part of why I'm liking Sabine so far. So yeah. Do you have any predictions for episode 4?
Episode 4? I don't know if we'll maybe Thrawn isn't gonna show up until episode 5.
Maybe I bet it's even later.
Yeah,
because
but I guess
he's like their new big bad.
Yeah, he's the new big bad.
Yeah, he's big and bad. Yeah.
But they're already there, so maybe they get into the highway somehow.
The highway?
I call it a highway. It's not a
do
highway.
You mean the Stargate thing?
The Stargate.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do Chevron and code it.
Well, they're both going to have...
No, it's a Stargate. Stargate SG-1 reference.
I'm sorry. I barely remember that show.
I watched the movie and the show as a little kid.
I did too. But it was like, it just wasn't really my thing. Christ.
Momichi.
Cat scared me. We know from the trailer, like, they have a rematch. Like, Ahsoka with Merrick and Shin with Sabine in the forest. But we don't know if Ahsoka, like...
Oh, right, they're in the forest. I don't remember.
If Ahsoka fights Merrick... sorry, not Merrick, but Balin in the next episode. And he talks about the Order and all that. And I haven't told you, but a long time ago, I heard that there is some crazy... Like, we haven't really seen what this show is going to do, but it's crazy. And like Dave Filoni is directing episode 5, and he said,
But what crazy is crazy?
like it's really cool. It's really cool. But he described it as a religious experience. Only some. Like, I know about a scene that's going to happen.
Okay. I really like the whole mystical part of Star Wars. Like, I think that's what kept, like, I didn't dismiss Rebels as, oh, it's just like a fucking show. You know, it's just like a kid's show.
It has
like
its problems, but it
DX show.
also has really good moments.
Yeah, exactly. But I kept coming back to it because I wanted to know more about the whole mystical part, like the Force and like how it works, and like you know, the light side, the dark side, and the more neutral side of the Force. And they're all Filoni shows, so he's clearly there's a consistency there, and like he's really into it, and I'm into it, and
he always brings it home too. Like, even if he has off episodes, which happens in every show that he's done, by the end of it, there's like 2 or 3 episodes where you're like, that was peak. Like, that was so good. And I expect that from this. And I feel like they're finally pushing into just things we haven't seen before. And for the first time in a while, I'm just actually excited for Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My expectations were low because
what we've gotten recently. Yeah. Fair.
And I mean, Mando season 3, it had its good parts, but
it just wasn't. That wasn't it.
It just wasn't giving, you know. Right, Ahsoka?
But yeah, I think that about wraps it up, right? Like, we didn't get into every detail, but I felt like I talked about mostly what I wanted to talk about. Well, that's been the episode then.
Yeah, that's the episode. Ahsoka, do you have anything else to add? She's so sleepy. She's like the sleepiest she's ever been today.
She's so cute. The one time I wish this was a video podcast, just to see your little face.
Oh, we love you,
Your
Ahsoka.
little baby, we love you, Ahsoka. All right, until next time.
Bye.